Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to Scotch and Talk.
Thank you. So what kind of Scotch are we having here? And where'd it come from?
Glenlivet.
Glenlivet, okay.
18.
All right.
Speyside.
That's
From Scotland.
high quality stuff there.
Yeah, I guess so, right? What do you think of it?
I'm a pretty big Scotch fan. I like some of the smokier stuff, so I'll get into an Ardbeg or a Lagavulin. Yeah. I like one called Cole Ela, but I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right.
I think I actually had that last weekend. I went to a music festival in Montreal, and I brought that with me. It's like a really wide, small.
Yeah, exactly. It tastes like a forest fire, basically.
Literally a forest fire.
Yeah.
I gave it to some of my friends. They're like, what is this shit?
You're like, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so complex. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
but
it's not for everybody. The expression like "put hair on your chest," I think,
Yeah.
comes from a derivative of something lighter than that. So.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so tell me a little bit about what you do. Tell me
Yeah.
about blockchain.com.
Yeah, well, thanks for inviting me. So my name is Nicolas Cary. I'm one of the co-founders of blockchain.com. Basically spent the last 7 years in the digital assets cryptocurrency industry. I've spent my whole career building technology startups. Among other things, the founding commissioner of the Blockchain Commission for Sustainable Development, something I spend a deal of time thinking and working on. Wrote something called The Future is Decentralized, and in my spare time, I also started a charitable organization called skiesthelimit.org, and we're the leading accelerator helping young adult entrepreneurs start their first businesses. So we help them with entrepreneurship education. We pair them with mentors and advisors that can give them subject matter expertise and help them think through their business plans. And then we have a funding system where entrepreneurs can actually request small grants to build their first businesses. And this isn't about necessarily starting like the next Google or the next Yahoo or something like that. Actually, anyone can kind of be coached up and trained in entrepreneurship, and we think it's just about practice. So I may not be the best basketball player in the world, and congrats to Toronto team for their victory this year. But if I go to the basketball court every single day, I will get better. And we have the same philosophy about how you can improve the skills around being an entrepreneur. So I'm one of the first people to commit to something called the Founders Pledge, which is about basically handcuffing yourself to a social cause and committing to giving a percentage of any outcome you have from your company to a charitable organization. So I'm already actively investing and working on that, and something I care a lot about.
Nice. Well, it seems like you have a lot of things on the go. How do you balance all these aspects of your work life?
It's a challenge. I'm very lucky. I know I hit the genetic lottery, and I have incredible teammates that are much more capable at many of the things that are necessary to build a big, successful business. The other thing that makes a huge difference, though, is to surround yourself with people that really put you in a position to think about your personal development. And it can get a lot of us chase something very specifically at different points of our adolescence or growing up. But I do think that putting yourself in situations of discomfort is a really important way of challenging yourself. And so I like to have a couple different things going on at any given moment. Blockchain.com is an all-encompassing commitment, though. So to be candid, like that sucks up almost everything. The rest of the work I do is really in my spare time, and I think of it more as kind of vocational or volunteering work.
Your hobbies,
more
or less. Yeah,
and I get to do it with people I've known for 15 years that I went to university with, and we're growing that community out, and it's starting to get its own wings, and it's really cool to watch.
You've been involved in the cryptocurrency space for a very long time. Can you tell me a funny story about the early days of the space?
I guess one funny story. I learned about cryptocurrency from a guy I went to university with, who his name's Eric Voorhees, and he has a long illustrative career in the crypto space. Started Shapeshift, worked at BitInstant for a while, and I remember I was fishing with him on the East Coast. We're in this tiny aluminum boat, and just lousy kind of boat.
Yeah.
And I was very stressed out at my previous job, and I just wanted to have a couple beers and hang out with my buddy. But he had heard about crypto, and it was he was just totally obsessed with it.
Right.
And he was really annoying,
You just wanted to relax.
And I just wanted to chill out, relax. And he's talking about this counterfeit resistant digital money, and it's censorship resistant, and it's this absolutely phenomenal idea. It's better than gold. And I was like, man, this sounds like a lot. It sounds a little too much. And but you have to picture this scene. We're bobbing around in this little boat, and I'm trying to catch summer flounders, these big flat fish, and having like a cheap beer or something. And I just remember thinking, like, just calm down. Like, I'll look it up. I'll take a look at it, but and I remember about a week later, I'd spent multiple evenings late at night researching, and I'd read the Bitcoin white paper, and it became very obvious to me that this was actually a pretty significant innovation, and it would inevitably at least challenge or allow us to test and try a whole bunch of new ideas. And as soon as I discovered that, I became much more interested in the whole concept. And in that way, it started off a massive learning journey for me that I'm continued to be on today. And I think one of the things that is not always, you don't always get to do things in your career that you want to be doing. Sometimes you have to do stuff you don't want to do before you get opportunities. But it is important to seek out learning opportunities and get into places where you can grow and that you can experience new things. And so without a doubt, I think what's most interesting to me about the space we're in fintech or digital currency or crypto assets broadly is that most people spend their whole lives in pursuit of money. They know that their parents fight about it, that they need to have some to buy, candy when they learn this, in a social way when they're children. And then we get older and we want to, buy stuff for our friends or whatever, buy presents or travel.
Money is kind of like the only driving force.
It's really integrated into your social fabric. And most people, though, really don't spend a lot of time thinking about why their money has value and what are the properties that make up their money. What are the characteristics of that money? Why is one money better than another? And I think it requires a bit of curiosity to actually explore that and think about it. And I think the more that people do that, the more they may discover that some of the things that we've been taught or that people take for granted are really quite based on very little. And it wasn't always that way. And I think what's really exciting about cryptocurrencies is that we have an opportunity now to reinvent and challenge the status quo. The world we're inheriting was set up structurally without our consent. There were all of these powerful entities that were we're just inheriting. And what I like about the projects and the cryptocurrency space specifically is that we get to challenge the status quo and say, you know what, it's not good enough yet. And we have a new tool that lets us reinvent that.
What are you most excited about when it comes to the future of blockchain technology?
I think the stuff that's exciting is still the real original vision for it, which is digital currency that is a better form of money for all people. And I think if we can deliver on that, a lot of the other exciting futuristic stuff that people like to talk about will happen.
What are some of the largest blockchain hubs in the world, in your opinion?
Ooh, that's a great question. I've spent a huge amount of time traveling to meet with entrepreneurs, investors, and policymakers all over the world. This is my second time in Toronto in recent years, and I do think there's a really exciting community here. You've got strong kind of presence from engineering and technologists and entrepreneurship and some investment here as well. I mean, without a doubt, I think London is one of the kind of key jurisdictions. Beyond that, there's interesting work happening in Singapore. South Korea has a strong community, Japan as well, Shanghai, San Francisco. But it is differently than other tech phenomena. San Francisco is not necessarily leading the pack here. It is just one of many places where there's concentrations of talent and people focused on this. And that's one of the neat things about especially the open source digital currency, cryptocurrency projects, is that they're highly resistant and highly distributed. And you've got people working on them from all over the world. And that concentration of human and intellectual talent is really what gives them a lot of value.
Great. Okay, well, thank you so much for
thanks. Appreciate it.